Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Color Commentary Podcast. We're here, week 5, staying alive, at least we're trying to. How many injuries happened this week? We're going to recap that as well as waiver wire picks. J-Mar, please tell me your team is doing awesome and that everything went your way.
I scored a lot of points. I was happy with the performance of certain players on my team, but I still lost.
Still lost.
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate when my team booms and the other team booms harder. J-Mar, who's on your squad? Who are you proud of? Who did the most work for you this week?
So happy that Drake London's back on the train. He scored the most points for me, 8 receptions, 110 receiving yards. He had a touchdown, 25.5 points. He's my dude my first wide receiver that I drafted. So it's nice to see him actually getting some quality points. And let's just hope that this is part of a trend for him, that he's just going on a upward trajectory.
I hope so. I mean, we saw what he did last year. He was a favorite of the new quarterback, Penix Jr. Penix has had a rough start, but he made up for it last week. I also have him on my team, Mr. London, and he did great for my Yahoo team. So yes, I'm with you. I hope it continues this way.
Dude, let's hope, man.
I also,
I had this, I guess this maybe is coulda, woulda, or whatever, but actually it would have it could have been worse for me. I had the opportunity to start Caleb Williams, and I swear before this week, I made like about 8 different lineup changes, like an hour before kickoff. I was just so unsure about many of these picks and many of these games. They all seem like kind of bizarre trap games, which we can talk about, but for sure. But I almost started Caleb Williams over the Raiders. And even though the Bears squeaked out that victory over my Raiders, and we went to Dave & Buster's and we got the pictures to prove it. That was a lot of fun. But I almost started Caleb Williams, and I'm glad I didn't, because Jalen Hurts scored about 7 more points than he did. And I just had that, epiphany. I'm like, dude, Jalen Hurts is my QB1. He's the starting QB of the Super Bowl winning Eagles. He's got the tush push, and yeah, it's going to be a close game versus Tampa Bay. I think I'd rather have him in there than Caleb Williams, even though he is projected to kind of stomp all over a Raiders defense that actually stepped up in that game. We did not lose that game because of the defense. We lost that game because of 3 interceptions to Geno Smith. And unfortunately, my opponent put Geno Smith on the bench. If you would have put Geno Smith on the bench, if you would have started Geno Smith, I would have won my game.
Yeah. Who is this quarterback?
His quarterback is normally Geno Smith, but he started Brock Purdy.
And he had a good game.
And Brock Purdy went over 300 yards with 2 passing touchdowns. And even though the Niners lost, Purdy was hoisting that pigskin often.
He has an injury, so he may not play this week. He has a turf toe issue that's being looked at. And that's just the beginning of the week 5 injuries, J-Mar. Let's go through them all.
Awful.
Malik Neighbors on my team.
Unreal. That's an unreal one. That's unreal that a young man like that, it just shows just how unpredictable, and obviously it's a violent sport, and sometimes things happen and body parts go certain ways they're not supposed to, but awful. I feel awful for that young man, because he wants to contribute, especially after the Giants had themselves a huge victory at home over the heavily favored Los Angeles Chargers. So good for the NYG men, spoiling a lot of one and dones, I'm sure. So good for them. Yeah, they did well, and I'm glad that they got that victory. But unfortunately, it seems like it comes at the expense of losing Malik Neighbors for the rest of the year, which is pretty tragic for not only just Giants fans, but certainly for fantasy football owners that have Malik Neighbors as their WR1. Excuse me.
No one's happy when a star player gets hurt. It ruins the game a little bit. Someone like Malik could elevate Jackson Dart a lot. He had a great first game, but without that kind of talent with him, we won't really know what the ceiling is for Jackson Dart. So he was on my team. He scored me 3 fantasy points, and I got destroyed in my sleeper league. So Ramiro's regular folks just had a regular score of 92.2, and Team Napoleon Mandalore got 147.16 points, partially due to their Brock Purdy start, the McCaffrey start. They had Hampton, Puka Nakua, Devontae Adams. Mark Andrews did okay. I'm sure you were pleased with some points happening there. DJ Moore begins his descent into wideout 2-3 status. We're not sure. And of course, Butker and the Steelers defense ended up scoring some points. Going back up on my team, the Chargers really disappointed. I thought it would be a much better defensive effort. I think they weren't really sure what Jackson Dart would provide. And I think we talked about this live when we were at Dave & Buster's, that they were just energized and were really trying to rewrite their current history and win that game.
Correct. Speaking of Mark Andrews too, it was a decent outing. He had he had 7 receptions, but only for 30 yards. But that's an interesting game too, because Lamar Jackson, speaking of injuries, had to leave that game too. And it sounds as if Cooper Rush has a potential to be the starting quarterback for Baltimore this week.
I would put dollars to donuts that it is going to be Cooper Rush. Lamar Jackson owners will be without their star quarterback, many of whom picked him up in the second round, if not first rounds of their leagues. And so if I were owner, I would be freaking out a little bit. Luckily, there are a lot of good quarterbacks on the waiver wire. When we just named one, Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart had a great start. He's going to be running a lot with his feet, and they have a great matchup next week. They are facing the Saints, and so he should be doing well again for his team next week. I'm excited to see Cam Scattaboo go again. He got 12 points. He didn't score 20 like he did last week. I started him over DeAndre Swift, which this week was a mistake by 2 points. However, I was excited to see what would happen with this young man and the feet that he has. He reminds me of like a Freddie Flintstone meme or something, like his feet just get started and then he can't be stopped.
I mean, he is so stoked to be in the NFL, and he is so stoked to be on the New York Giants. He's just so stoked to be a football player. It's just so exciting watching his energy on that football field. So he's making every other team that didn't draft him look a little foolish, I think, just because that's the kind of energy you want on your sidelines, and that dude's all in. I'm definitely a Cam Scatabo fan, so keep it going, young man.
I mean, it's in the name. How could you not know he's going to be a hustler with the name like Scattaboo?
Scattaboo.
It just sounds like a good football name.
Born to play football.
Just born to play. Jalen Hurts, we both have him in our teams. I have him in 2 of my 3 leagues. He did good. It's a good floor game from him. Only 130 yards passing. Fun stat. He had basically no throws, like no positive yardage passing wise on the second half. It was all in the first half. So all the damage was done in the beginning. He had 9 carries for 62 yards, but that's what Jalen Hurts is known for, is that with those legs, with his ability to get touchdowns, both going to Dallas Goedert, he's able to score about 20 points pretty consistently. And that's why he's on my team. And
I know a lot of people left Dallas Goedert on their bench this week for some reason, and of course it's always that tight end position. You're like, I'm not going to start my normal tight end. I'm going to go with the metrics and maybe this other guy that people are sort of ranking as the hot option will do better. And of course, it's just Murphy's Law. That's when they go off. So
I just go back to my own personal rule of just having one tight end, so you don't have to worry about any of that mess. I dropped Harold Fannin for Dallas Goedert. Someone got frustrated and dropped him when he got injured. I was more than happy to pick him up. I started him in my Yahoo League, and that's part of the reason why I won. So I was projected for 99 points. I scored 120, and my opponent scored 114. Here's Jalen Hurts again. Justin Jefferson had a good game, even without a touchdown. Lots of yardage happened for him. We talked about Drake London already. He scored 23 points and a half PPR. J.K. Dobbins, I picked him up in the 8th round, and he's acting like a 3rd or 4th round pick. He ran like he never got hurt, and him and RJ Harvey are now looking like a great running back duo in that backfield. I mean, that is something to watch and see if they both remain healthy. I could see another kind of Sonic and Knuckles duo form between those two.
Yeah, that'd be fun. I mean, I'm not a Denver fan, but for the people who have them on their fantasy football teams, nice.
That's right. They're in your division.
Yep, don't like them. But, at this point, I don't know. As a Raider fan, I'm just like, let's just concentrate on fantasy now. I mean,
so hold on, time out. So we talked about, we saw our first game of football live together, I think ever. I haven't done that in so long. We had $10 wings for $10. We had 10 wings for $10. We had $5 beers. I mean, J-Mar, what did that remind you of? Like, for me, it was like going all the way back to like high school and college when I was watching games with my buddies. I mean, how often do you get to go out and see a football game?
I just want to clarify. I had some of that NA beer, some of that non-alcoholic McUltra. It was delicious, and I didn't feel the effects from it. It felt great. I mean, I've been watching football for, I don't know, since I was a kid, and so much fun to go to a fun place where you can eat the chicken wings and drink the beer and be around people that are expressing themselves, cheering for their football team. And you were literally in a sea of Raider fans, so I give you a lot of props. I mean, there are probably like maybe 3 Bears fans in the whole place, and there were like maybe about like, I would say like 30 Raider fans. So
I was the only Bear fan in that section, and it was only until I left that a redheaded waitress high-fived me and said, "Go Bears," and I was like, of course. A lot of Irish in Chicago, so I found the one Bears fan who was working that day. But dude, like, I was ready to go. I was pumped. I had my uniform on, and I also had, I gotta come grab this off screen. Hold on, this is gonna be worth it. I had my Mexican wrestling mask that I got in Cabo for the Bears, and it's got the little Bears C on the side. And I only wore this when they were winning, which was not often. It was at the right time, right at the end. And when the Bears blocked that field goal attempt, J-Mar, and we were both talking, we were both saying, hey, my team's the worst because they're cursed. No. My team's the worst because they're cursed. Both cursed teams. And what happened? The Bears blocked the field goal, and I laughed. I got up and said, my mask cursed all of you here, and the Bears won. Go Bears. To their credit, they took it very well. I did not think we deserved to win that game, J-Mar, but I had a lot of fun watching them win. I'm still really nervous about my Bears, though.
I mean, they've got a bye this week, which is nice, but I got to tell you, like, there was, a couple of experts that their start of the week was Geno Smith, and he just looked awful. I mean, 3 interceptions. It's hard to say that one player gave the game away, but I really felt like our defense played really their hearts out. And I also loved seeing Ashton Jeanty just take control of that game in certain areas, and just really disappointing loss, home loss as well too. I know there's some movement happening in certain teams, people getting benched and people getting look, there's a picture of us.
Here's us. So this is,
I got my Raiders hat on.
The game wasn't decided yet, and a lovely lady came up and said, I'll take one for free and please pose for one. This was the crazy one. And dude, she successfully sold us a photo that we'll cherish always.
She successfully milked us for $30 for a couple of photos that probably cost $3.
What do you think this guy's thinking? This guy in the back, just not even paying attention. He's now memorialized.
Yeah, dude, that's our homie. I think I gave him a pound out on the way out. I was like, bro, next season.
You were very good. Like, you were a man of the Raiders people. You went around and told everybody, hey, what about next season, guys? Which reminds me of a Chicago fan. Hey, how about next season? And this team has so much going for it, you'd think, with all these great draft picks, J-Mar. I mean, Ashton Jeanty absolutely exploded in this game like I thought he would, but I didn't think it was going to be 3 touchdowns.
Yeah, he looked really good on that 68-yard scamper, man, and he like avoided this tackle. That was a really pretty run. I think we are hopefully setting ourselves up for more of that. But unfortunately, Gino is our best option until he loses that spot, and he's very close to. I think that if he doesn't produce next week, we're going to be looking at Kenny Pickett being our starting quarterback, which doesn't excite me very much.
That's not exciting.
And we still have Aiden O'Connell, but he's coming. He's still injured. He has I believe a thumb injury. So
he wasn't bad.
He wasn't bad. I mean,
okay.
He's just okay. Yeah, I mean, he's a rookie, right? I mean, he was still learning. He's got a strong arm and he's got some leadership capability, but he just seems like he's a really good backup. We just don't have that QB1. I mean, we just spent so much money on Geno Smith, and it's clear to me that at least week 4 that this is a bad deal for us so far.
It's looking like a bad deal. You're suffering from what the Bears fans used to call good Rex, bad Rex. You have good Geno, bad Geno. Last week, he looked like the future. This week, he definitely looked like the past. I'm pretty sure he's past his mid-30s. And the fact that they paid him this much money, I feel like the NFL is a young man's game. Why they didn't just go in and draft somebody or multiple somebodies and just sort of see what they have and draft a journeyman quarterback or court one, and they'd be okay. I think it might have been some bias on their coach who had worked with Geno in the past, but I think, each year in the NFL is different, and I don't know if Geno's got it anymore to be a starter in the NFL.
It's tough, dude. We'll see what happens next week. Like we always do. I mean,
we'll just have to see. I mean, this week, it's not a great matchup.
No, I mean they're with the Raiders. It's never a great matchup. I mean, we just get lucky and beat New England every now and then,
It's the Colts, which it's
the Colts at Indianapolis. They just suffered their first defeat of the season, and it was a tough loss against the Rams. Those are the kind of games that, on the plane ride home, the guys are just like, replaying the game in their head, and they're like, damn it, I could have done this.
Coulda, shoulda, woulda.
I coulda, shoulda, woulda done
better game. If I didn't drop that touchdown in the end zone.
Yeah,
I mean, Adlai Mitchell, what were you doing, my friend?
I know that was
the
bad.
bobble that changed the game.
Well, and it's the kind of thing that guys, after losing a game like that, they kind of take that bitter energy to the next game, and they want to win. That's what good teams do. And so far, Indianapolis is proving that they're a good team. So I don't see the Raiders.
They took that angry energy
winning. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. The Raiders are the weird team. They'll lose to the Bears at home, and then they'll beat Indianapolis at Indianapolis. It's just a weird team.
I think the Raiders and the Bears are like sister teams in the sense that they seem to have things together and they just never put it all together to win and have a winning season. They were both good in the 80s, I think, and now they're not good. So we'll see, J-Mar. I hope that this year continues to build. Ashton Jeanty is the future. He looked phenomenal. Brock Bowers is a little quiet this year, and Geno may not be the answer, so they may want to figure out how to change things there. J-Mar,
we'll see what happens.
I wish you the best.
Thank you, sir.
Continuing down, we have Trey Benson, who did okay. He is the new starting running back after Connor went down, and there's rumors that he may have an injury. I hope not, because this would be the third running back on this team that has gone down with an injury. I had Aaron Jones Sr., I had James Conner, and now Trey Benson. And so this year just feels like a rough start all around for the NFL with so many injuries piling up. So if Trey Benson isn't playing, there are a few players that I am eyeing on waivers. I am looking at a few, and I'm hoping here it is. So Rachaad White is available in this Yahoo League. I am trying to get him because I'm hearing Bucky Irvin may have a mystery injury and he may be out. He would be a great pickup. I'm dropping Kareem Hunt because that running game is no bueno. Second up on my waiver list is Woody Marks. On the Texans, he did fantastic, and he's coming up in the world, J-Mar.
You know who else you should add is Kenneth Gainwell, who had a really good game for Pittsburgh, in place of Jalen Warren, who was like a last minute like injury report guy. So Kenneth Gainwell looks pretty good too. I definitely agree with you on Woody Marks, who everyone is stealing off the list. And if you're lucky enough that Tyler Algier is still out there, he's a good pickup as well too. Kendre Miller from New Orleans, who that dude is second fiddle to Alvin Kamara, but he's also putting up some nice numbers. And the return of Tajay Spears in Tennessee, even though that team is, like Camp Ward said, he's like, we asked, bro. I think he said that. Am I quoting him correctly? He's like, yo, man, I just want a buck. Like we asked, bro. And like, it was an hysterical comment because it was kind of like, hold on, we need a translator here. What did that mean?
He
but
said,
I loved
we
it.
ask?
We ask. We ask, bro.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah,
he
bro.
said that. About the Titans, right?
Yes, correct.
Yeah,
yes.
They are ass. I mean, like that was an accurate quote, and good for him for calling it out and describing it perfectly. And so if you're looking for running backs, I think Justice Hill is kind of a nice stash, especially
yes.
he
had a great game.
Hit a great game. If they're behind, he's going to come out. He's going to be there for passing downs. And so Justice Hill scored a lot of points. This happens every year. He's never drafted, and he's just lurking in the waiver wire. He booms, and then people pick him up, and then they drop him. Amari DeMarcado might be somebody good to pick up, especially if, like I said, Trey Benson is hurt. And so the rest are a dart throw on this list.
A dart throw. Are you doing some sort of double entendre for Jackson Dart? Because there are some guys that he can throw to that are probably on the waiver wire. Somebody like Theo Johnson, the tight end.
I like what you did there. And so a real dart throw are these two guys. So both Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton are literal dart throws because Dart's going to be throwing them the ball. I'm hoping to pick up one of these two wideouts.
You're the one that said it. I was just picking up your ball, dog. I thought we were playing hot potato. Unscripted. That's
unscripted hot potato. No. I mean, like, I accidentally made that reference and you connected it, and that's why we're hosts together, J-Mar, because I think
we're like the Sonic. We're like the Sonic and Knuckles of fantasy football podcasts.
Oh, 100%. That we can definitely. I would be. Yeah, man. I'm happy to be the Sonic if you're the Knuckles. I see you as the Bruiser Man, Mr. Former Tackle.
Jeez,
here with me.
Old bones, bro. Old bones.
So we have the two giant wideouts. If you can target them, great. Malik Washington might be a sneaky ad, of course, because guess who else is hurt? Tyreek Hill, of course. If you saw it, please don't look for it. His leg got mangled in a tackle that happened out of bounds, and his leg got twisted, and luckily it's just a dislocated knee. Nothing got ripped or totally shredded. But I never seen a man more elated in my life. J-Mar, I have a theory that he has an insurance policy on himself, because who screams yes into the air after breaking their leg, basically? So I wasn't sure what was going on.
I mean, he's an interesting character. He's always been an interesting character, right? He's just a polarizing figure in the league. People think that he's a little too cocksure, a little too boastful. But he's just kind of a little crazy. He's a little out there. So he's definitely a character. So while he might have been in extreme, excruciating pain, that was just the energy that was coming out. So, hey, man, that's Tyreek for you, man.
That's the energy coming out. I, myself, have broken my leg playing softball, and I did not have that reaction. If anything, I was like, oh no, I don't have insurance. And then I screamed in pain. So good for him for keeping positive. Maybe he was just done with Miami and now he can just go chill. I mean, to honestly be there like that in that moment, I just don't know if he has a high pain tolerance or what. But like, yes, it just surprised me that he could be in that kind of mood after his leg got mangled.
Yeah, Crazy, dude. Crazy, crazy, crazy. I felt bad for him and for everyone else that got hurt this week. It just seemed like there were a lot.
There were so many. This is my ESPN league. In this league, I have Josh Allen, Amari and Hampton. Amari and Hampton had a second week of over 20 fantasy points, which is making my my fourth round pick look awesome. Of Amari and Hampton, there's a team in one of my other leagues that has Amari and Hampton and Ashton Jeanty, and they scored 1 billion points, so good for them. Quinshon Judkins, everyone was staying away from. I picked him up. He's looking like a fantasy steal, someone I got at the last round, and so he's scoring 19.5 points for me. Justin Jefferson, like I said earlier, did great. AJ Brown! Why do you curse me, AJ Brown? I was so excited to pick him with my second pick, but J-Mar, I am like at the point where I just need to bench him until he shows me consistency. So what if he blows up on my bench? At this point, there's beef between him and Jalen Hurts, and they're facing the Denver Broncos next week, and Surtain is nothing to with. So like, I don't know, man. I think I have to bench him until I see consistency, because I'm lucky I won this game despite him only scoring me 1.7 fantasy points.
Well, and that's the weird thing about fantasy football, right? Like, look, AJ Brown, who's been slumping, is going up against Denver, who has like just a mega secondary, beautiful secondary.
The best in the NFL,
that
arguably.
People would call, arguably the best secondary in the NFL. And who knows, he might end up catching a touchdown. But he's a risky start. If you got somebody that has a more favorable matchup, I think that, just analyze that. But that's just the beauty of fantasy football. You'll end up sitting AJ Brown, and he'll score 30 points next week.
Well, that's why I didn't sit him. I was thinking sit him over, guess who I have on my bench? Michael Pittman Jr., who got his third touchdown of the year. Jordan Addison, who also got a touchdown and had a huge catch in that game. And so I have two Minnesota Vikings wideouts that I'm starting to think, hey, what if I just start both of them, right? Because of the bias I've had in 1 week. And so I think I'll have to really stir on it and wonder what I'm going to do come next week. I drafted him not to sit him, and I don't want to miss out on a boom week. But if there is ever a week to sit him, I would think it's against Patrick Surtain.
Yeah, absolutely. And you never know, man. Even though Michael Pittman's been showing people that he's back, if you will. He's got that Raider defense that, they played well against the Bears. They played well.
Really
so
did.
So who's to say? We'll see. I guess it all depends on the offensive line, and if they're able to. If Daniel Jones is able to sit in that pocket and distribute that ball to his targets, and we'll see what happens. But I don't know. If I'm a betting man, I'm not betting on the Raiders in that game. But like I said, it'll be that game. It'll be that game that you're like, there's no way the Raiders are winning this game, and then they end up winning by like a touchdown.
And then they win it. Well, that's what happened with the Green Bay Cowboys game. I picked them in my one and done elimination game, thinking it was going to be easy. That the Bears beat the Cowboys, that the Green Bay Packers were supposed to have this awesome defense, and it just looked like Swiss cheese. And what was going on with Jordan Love? Sometimes he looks like the quarterback who's worth the fifth most money in the league. And then sometimes he looks like he's just so pedestrian. They went for the tie at the end on that game. I just couldn't believe they couldn't close. And that might be the only tie we see this year. J-Mar.
Yeah. Maybe so. We'll see.
J-Mar, this is my sleeper league. Looking closer at it, you can see I have Jalen Hurts leading the charge. Cam Scadaboo's here. Breece Hall, Malik Neighbors, Nico Collins has been okay. Not the round 2 asset I'm looking for, but I see brighter days ahead. I believe the matchup is great with Baltimore. I can't believe I'm saying that, but they've just had not been able to stop anything in the air. So I'm excited for Nico Collins next week. Travis Kelce was okay. J.K. Dobbins is here. He's in 2 of my teams. Mr. Loop seems to be doing okay, though now that another quarterback starting, I don't know how well they're going to do. I'll probably keep him another week. And then I had the Chargers defense, like I said before, super disappointed me. And that means I'm looking at the waiver wire. And right now I have a few people that I'm targeting. I'm sorry, I have a few teams that I'm targeting. And one of those would be the Arizona Cardinals if they're available, as well as the Giants actually would be a good pickup this week. And even the Philadelphia Eagles because of how well they've been playing. And so I found the button and here it is. I'm looking to pick up the Cardinals or the Eagles if possible. And they're not my largest priorities because this team lost Malik Neighbors. So I have Slayton, Dobbs, and Luke McCaffrey because McLaurin is still hurt and I'm seeing a little bit of potential coming from Luke. And of course, we mentioned Woody Marks and Justice Hill up top. So that's what my waiver wire is looking like. Onward to week 5. I am now 2-2, 2-2, and 2-2. And J-Mar, you are?
I'm 2-2.
Here we are starting 500 after the first quarter of the season. That's not bad. I think we're all still in the game looking into week 5. J-Mar, let's talk about bye week strategies. This is the first bye week we are experiencing buys from the Chicago Bears, the Green Bay Packers, the Steelers, and the Falcons. Am I missing any? I think that's all.
No, it's those 4. So the good thing is that you get to rest some players, and those guys may be back week 6. Your super studs on those teams ready to score mega points, but that means you have to replace them for the time being, obviously. And I've got a bit of a conundrum, which I have to sit Drake London, which means I have 2 WR slots. One is definitely going to Cortland Sutton, but then I have to pick between Jerry Jeudy or Chris Olave. And I looked on the waiver wire. There's some guys that I wouldn't mind picking up, but I think that I would rather start one of those 2 over a waiver wire pickup. I'd have to go with Olave at this point because he gets so many targets, and he actually did pretty decent last Sunday. He had a touchdown. Yay.
Finally.
Finally.
My man, Chris Olave. I'm starting him this week because of the bye weeks and also due to injuries. I'm excited for him. I think it's a good matchup. I imagine that he'll finally continue to score points. It may be another touchdown week for him.
Yeah, we'll see. And they're going up against the Giants, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully he can produce. I feel as if he didn't have that touchdown, he would have had a really bad game. So, and there's also I'm letting Jerry Jeudy hang around my team, even though he hasn't produced much. We all know what he's capable of. So maybe it's just a slow start to the season and quarterback change. He's got Dylan Gabriel throwing to him. I think that a lot of people are expecting the tight end core of Cleveland to get a lot of points there, and Njoku and Fannin, but doesn't mean that the guy can't throw the ball to his receivers as well too. So I'm going to see how Jeudy does this week. I'm not going to start him, but I'm just keeping a big magnifying glass on him because if he doesn't seem to have good chemistry with the new QB in town, we'll see if Shador can get him the ball. If they decide to go Shador like week 12 or whatever. But yeah, we'll see.
Well, Cedric Tillman is also hurt and out.
That's true.
So
that's true.
If there's a week for him to step up and still remain on my team, it's this one. The Minnesota defense is really good, but can give up the big play here and there. So we're hoping that Jerry Jeudy shows up. We pegged him out as someone who had a lot of potential leading into week 1. We haven't seen it yet. He must have it somewhere. It just hasn't shown up yet. Maybe when Shador Sanders comes to town, we'll finally see a Jerry Jeudy touchdown.
Yeah, maybe. And I've got an interesting conundrum where I don't know which defense to start: the Vikings against the Browns or the Browns against the Vikings. So I've got 2 defenses on my team. I'm going to go the Vikings because they seem to maybe would be able to clamp down on a rookie quarterback like Dylan Gabriel.
Plus, the Browns have been a great NFL defense, but not a great defense in fantasy because their offense does not put the defense in good positions. They lose the ball early in their downs, right? Like early in the field, I mean. And so the defense is constantly trying to push back an offense that's often deep in their own territory. So it's just not a great situation for the Browns defense, especially with a brand new quarterback starting. J-Mar, I think you hang on to the Browns defense and see, but the Minnesota defense looks like a great one to start. I have them on my team as well. And this team doesn't have, well, the players that I am replacing are Roma Dunze and DeAndre Swift. And luckily I have enough running back depth to cover. And I think for now, A.J. Brown is in my flex spot, but I could easily start Jordan Addison instead. I'll just have to wait and see how I feel as we get closer.
Are you thinking of grabbing somebody off the waiver wire?
Yes. So if I get a Giants receiver, I may just try my luck there as well. Or if for some reason a Chris Godwin is on your waiver wire, I'd pick him up. I mean, remember that guy who scored all those points and touchdowns before he got hurt? I don't think he's too far behind. It may be a week or two before we start seeing him boom, but I did pick him up in one of my leagues, and I'm happy that I did. It's in my Yahoo league, and he's someone that I'm really looking to start. I have him in my flex spot. He's looking like he could get 10 fantasy points. I have Stephon Diggs. These are my two choices: is Stephon Diggs or Chris Godwin Jr. For my last spot, my last starting spot.
There are a couple of guys on the waiver wire. Isaiah Bond, who is a Cleveland guy that might step in there, and for the injured. Oh my gosh, you just said his name. The WR1, I guess, in Cleveland.
Oh, Cleveland.
Cleveland.
Cedric Tillman.
Yeah, so Cedric Tillman. I mean, he's going to be hurt for a little bit, so Isaiah Bond could step in there. There's Eric Ayomanor, who's at Tennessee, but once again, Tennessee, but he's been a bright spot for them. I think a lot of people have already picked him up, though. I think that I'd be surprised if he's still on a lot of people's waiver wires, and good on the people that picked him up. But obviously, like you said, Darius Slayton or Wendell Robinson, if those guys haven't been picked up yet, should be.
We haven't talked much about the tight end opportunities that exist, but for someone like me who's ready to give up on the Harold Fannin Jr. experiment, Darren Waller scored 2 touchdowns, and with Tyreek Hill out, he's probably going to get more targets. Get the guy who used to be retired if you can. He looks like an opportunity, J-Mar. I mean, he was on your Raiders for some time. I mean, do you feel like he's still got it?
I mean, look, he just scored a touchdown this week. So, I mean, obviously, they wouldn't have signed him if they didn't feel like he could contribute. So, I mean, good for Darren Waller, man. He's had a lot of ups, a lot of downs, and here he is in kind of like the twilight of his career doing the dang thing. So good on you, Darren. Hopefully continued success.
Best of luck to my waiver wire choice. I'll be excited if he's on my team.
Yeah.
Gotta be honest.
Yeah.
Week 5, J-Mar starts. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to mention, too, Mason Taylor is also a tight end that put up some nice numbers there in Dallas in that barn burner of a tie. Oh.
Mason Taylor also. So if you're looking for a tight end, Bretton Strange has a really good floor. Harold Fannin, I don't know. Especially with, a rookie quarterback may be leaning more into the tight ends. We just don't know. If you can, hold on to Fannin. If not, get Waller. Anybody else? Mason Taylor's here. Evan Ingram, I don't think so. I mean, I can see a week where he gets 2 touchdowns and everyone wants to grab him. AJ Barner seemed okay. It's just tight end is such a slog. It's just not super fun week to week. On some of my teams, I have Kelsey on my sleeper league. I'm just leaving it. I'm not bothering with the waiver wire. And then in my ESPN league, I now have Goddard, so I'm going to leave that alone. It's this one team where I had the Denver Evan Ingram tight end, and I just wasn't happy with him. He was hurt, so I'm fishing and trying to stick with one. So maybe it's maybe it's Darren Waller, and I can take him and his neck tattoos to a win come
Yeah.
January.
Yeah, I'm still wait. I've stashed Isaiah Likely just in case of the weird things that are happening with Mark Andrews. But I'm actually having a conundrum too because Baltimore is playing Houston at Houston, and Houston did get the victory last week. But I don't know. We'll
Do we
see how
believe
that.
it though? I mean, it wasn't first a tough
I mean,
team.
the thing I know, but the thing is that it was also Cooper Rush that was throwing that ball to Mark Andrews so much, and maybe they've developed a rhythm. So I mean, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
We did see
And
that. He was dumping it off to Mark Andrews.
and a lot can happen in practice, especially after for a backup quarterback. You've just kind of been thrown into the spotlight. Third quarter of a game, you're just like, oh, here I am.
Uh-oh.
Quarterback of the NFL Baltimore Ravens, just doing my thing. But once you can ease up, get in that practice, you're the QB1. Start really developing those type of relationships with your targets, and who knows, maybe Mark Andrews will be one. I'm either going to start him, Mark Andrews against Houston, or I got to start Zach Ertz against the Chargers. And if Shaden Daniels is back this week, that might be the move to
I
go
think
with
that's
Ertz.
the deciding factor is Jaden Daniels coming back or not for you.
Yeah, so we'll see. Keeping an eye on things, ready to make more terrible decisions.
Week 5 is upon us, and we have the Broncos versus the Eagles. It's a morning game, and I'm excited about this one. I have a few players in it, of course, but I think we're going to see a revitalized Broncos offense versus a stuttering Eagles offense. Both defenses have been pretty good, and right now the split is pretty even. Only 3.5 points favorite for the Eagles. At the open, it was 5.5, but I think after seeing how well the Broncos did on Monday, the line has moved. J-Mar, what are you looking for in this game?
I mean, look, Philly and Buffalo are the remaining undefeated teams in the NFL. So right now, it's just who's Buffalo going to lose to, right? That's kind of the game. Who's Philadelphia going to lose to? Is Philadelphia going to lose to Denver at home at Philly? I don't think so. I got my money on Philly on that one. I feel like they are just they're that team, man. They just figure out ways to win. It's almost like the Kansas City Chiefs. They just find ways to win. And I know that they're not quite the same team as they have been in previous years, but I feel like Philadelphia is got that one. As good as Denver looked on Monday night, there's just going into Philly is just a little bit different. So
I think the most interesting stat here is the total, only 43.5. And I know both these defenses are good, but I see this game going over this for sure. The line moved a little bit since the open. I see a lot more points being scored, even though the defenses are good. I think that both these quarterbacks are mobile. They have interesting and unique weapons on both sides. I wonder how well J.K. Dobbins and R.J. Harvey will do against this defense. And so it'll be a very interesting game, J-Mar. There's no one I'm sitting except for A.J. Brown, as we talked about. I may have to sit him versus Mr. Surtain.
Well, nice. We'll see what happens.
We'll have to just see what happens, J-Mar. Another
That's why
game
they
we
play
want to.
games.
That's why they play the game. Our next game we're going to highlight are the Houston Texans versus the Baltimore Ravens. Why am I highlighting this game? Well, it's because the Ravens are on a 1-3 skid and are going to be starting their backup quarterback Cooper Rush. We could see the Baltimore Ravens fall to 1-4, and at that point, the season seems a bit lost. Though Lamar Jackson being your quarterback, are you really out of the game? I'm not sure. Right now, the Baltimore Ravens are extremely favorited. However, the line has moved and from the open, and now the Houston Texans are the favorites at 1.5.
I mean, the experts, right? Do they know more than us? the non-experts. So I I mean, it's so hard to bet against Baltimore at Baltimore. I mean, even with Cooper Rush as your starting QB, I feel like with that week of practice, and like I had mentioned earlier, you kind of get
Mm,
thrust into the spotlight the way how he did. I feel like he can able to sort of temper that. Houston hasn't really looked all that good, except obviously last week against Carolina, right? It was Carolina they
that's
played.
right. Yep, they
Yeah,
got their
they
game back.
skunked they skunked them. Yeah.
They
Um,
blanked them out.
I I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna go Baltimore. I just Houston's got to really prove it against a team like, and Baltimore ain't no Carolina, as we know, even with Cooper Rush. So we'll see if Cooper Rush is able to maintain that sort of tempo that that offense has, and also, I mean, Derrick Henry, Justice Hill. I mean, those guys had some nice games. Uh, Despite, or Justice Hill had some nice game despite the loss of Kansas City. So I just feel like this team's got a little bit more bite. It's Baltimore, the beast of the AFC North, or one of the beasts of the AFC North. So I expect them to bounce back, even though they're 1.5 underdogs right now.
Looking after this game, I think Baltimore will be 2-3, and their season won't look like it's completely lost like it does now. Cooper Rush is a serviceable backup with great weapons at his disposal. I think that the Texans, because of their shellacking of the Panthers, I think that's why the line has moved. However, like you said, we've seen that team play. They do not look like they're a complete team. Only Nico Collins has seemed to breathe any life into their offense. We have Woody Marks, who's shown up as a pretty good running back, but he's still not an awesome one. And so I agree with you, J-Mar. I think it is the Ravens game. I probably would even pick them to be an elimination team favorite of mine, just because I
Mm,
just don't see the Texans being able to beat Ravens at home.
interesting. All right, man. Good luck with that one and done action.
J-Mar and I both picked the Packers, and they tied versus the Cowboys. And in the one elimination league I'm in, it's just the best at the end, so I'm allowed to
Yeah.
lose. I'm not out. So
Ah,
there are a
lucky
couple
you.
of, yeah. I don't like being. I like playing the game all the way through, so I don't like being eliminated that early. It's not fun.
Yeah, I'm one and done. Just it's kind of like the rules of the little league that I do, and I mean that game was a double whammy for me, because not only did I end up getting eliminated from my one and done, but Josh Jacobs went off, and my opponent in the fantasy football game had Josh Jacobs, and was definitely a contributing factor as to why I came out with an L this week.
J-Mar, I think you were over 3 last week. So your fantasy team, the Raiders lost, and your elimination team one and done. You're out.
Brutal,
It's a brutal week for football.
brutal.
Dallas versus the New York Jets. This
Oh
game
man, tough
should be
one.
interesting. The Cowboys seem like a completely different team now that they've gotten used to not having CD Lamb. They were able to tie the Green Bay Packers, and so now they're looking at the somewhat hapless New York Jets that looked like they could have won yesterday versus the Miami Dolphins if it weren't for a few fumbles and some mistakes made. Both awesome things and bad things happen with Justin Fields. I know that experience as a Bears fan. I'm still rooting for him, though. I think that they keep him another year. The Jets aren't done yet. However, this may be where the Cowboys turn their season around and go 2-1. Do you agree, Jamar?
I mean, at this point of the season, I feel like there's so many potential trap games, right? And I feel as if New York Jets do not have a victory yet. They were pretty spicy in that game against Miami, but Miami handled them pretty well. Home game, Dallas. Oh my gosh, Dallas is happy that they tied Green Bay. It's so hard. I think Dallas. I'll put my money on Dallas for sure. Yeah, but look, it's not to say that the Jets won't fight because at this stage in the game, you need a victory, and I mean, I'm sure that and Justin Fields at one point looked really good.
He did.
Yeah, and that Monday night game. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I would put my money on Dallas, but I would not be surprised if the Jets upset them.
100%. We talked about this game a little bit. It's still in Europe. The Minnesota Vikings versus the Cleveland Browns. They both are with new or not the quarterbacks they started the season with. And so this could be a tough one for the Vikings. However, the
That
Browns defense has shown up. We don't
That's so
know.
wild. That's so wild. So literally, the Minnesota Vikings, like got cray cray in Dublin one week, and then just decided to stay across the pond and play in London the next week. That's wild to me.
It is. I think they're the only team that has to stay in Europe for 2 weeks. So they're just out there. For me, the
Partying.
international games, yeah. Well, why not? You're at a peak physical shape and you're in a new place. Maybe that's why the players like playing internationally, because they get to live it up and may or may not be robbed while they're out partying. But honestly, I don't like them. They're too early. I don't watch them. I set my lineup and hope that the team plays. And so this game might be weird for that reason. When these teams have to travel to a new country, you never know what's going to happen, or the field could possibly become a factor here. I do see the Vikings winning this game and even beating the spread. It hasn't moved since it opened. Good luck, Browns. I want to see Shador Sanders. I think we're all very much interested, but we're going to give Mr. Gabriel a chance here.
We'll see. Yeah, I think that. I mean, Minnesota, dude. I just feel like that defense is going to gobble up Dylan Gabriel, but I mean, that's just my thought. I just who knows? Dylan Gabriel might go off and become the next Tom Brady for all we know.
There's always a chance. Any given Sunday. One more game. How about that, J-Mar?
Let's do it, man. I feel like we got one more in the tank.
San Francisco 49ers versus the Los Angeles Rams. It's the battle of the PCH. We
Oof.
may or may not have Brock Purdy starting this game. I think it does change a little bit if he starts. I could see the Niners squeaking out with a win if Purdy plays. If not, the Rams are just such a well-coached team. They don't give up. Puka Nacua looks like the Pokemon monster this year. Number one wideout so far in fantasy. Devontae Adams is a red zone target. Matthew Stafford isn't hurt. And Kyron Williams is doing okay. On the Niners side, what can we expect? It's McCaffrey. And the Niners are very much injured. They may not have Juwan Jennings. They may not have their man Pearsall, and if they don't have their starting quarterback and are with Mac Jones, it's just not going to look like a Niners win to me.
Yeah, it's a tough one for sure, man. And usually San Francisco shows up for the games against the Rams. It's a division rival that, just those guys don't like each other. Those are tough games to pick. Once again, I'm putting my money on the Rams because that's the smart pick, but I would not be surprised if San Francisco finds because look, that Kyle Shanahan's a great coach and he'll find a way to expose a weakness on the Rams and they end up winning by a last second field goal. So, money on the Rams. Won't be surprised if the Niners win last minute.
The spread's kind of interesting to me, especially if one of those wideouts is playing, they have a chance. And so that spread of 6.5 looks interesting to me. However, it's anybody's game. The money line does not interest me at all. And that is week 5. J-Mar, I hope we come back next week and we are 3-2 in some of our teams. We may be 2-3.
Yeah. I'm heavily favored in my matchup this week, and I still have a lot of big guns on my starting lineup despite all the bye movement happening, but I still got Jalen, still got Jahmyr Gibbs, still got Brees, still got Cortland Sutton, Javonte Williams, who even in what was prognosticated to be a down week for him, still had a decent week against Green Bay.
I thought that too. I thought, don't start him anymore, but he's still showing signs of life. J-Mar, you might have picked up a steal with Javonte Williams. I think he's a must start from here on out.
Yeah, well, he's definitely in my flex position this week because Drake London is on my bench due to bye purposes. So we'll see. We'll see what happens, man. I hope I win.
And J-Mar, before we go, can you give me your hottest fantasy football prediction of the week? We want to hear it first. Just plant your flag. What do you think is going to happen next week? Or who do you think is going to totally the bed in week 5?
Well, I'll keep it related to my team just because I can just have a little personalized touch on it. I think that David Montgomery is going to bounce back against Cincinnati. Cleveland shut him down completely, and so it was just pretty much Jahmyr Gibbs holding the running back core down there in Detroit against the Browns. But they got Cincinnati this week. It's a more favorable matchup. I feel as if our guy is going to step up, David Montgomery, and he's going to have a good game again. So
I'm going to make this prediction. It doesn't mean I'm going to start A.J. Brown, but I do believe he's going to eke out a touchdown and save his fantasy day because, of course, just when you start to doubt a player, that's when he's going to show up, J-Mar. So I'll let you know if I start him. I'll text it out and tell you, but I just feel like there's better options on my bench. A.J. Brown, don't let me down.
Don't let me down. A.J. Brown. My original song for the week.
Don't let me down. A.J. Brown. I'm like trying to hear that music in my head.
That's exactly it.
It's such
too funny.
Dude, please don't read a book. Don't read a book. Get a touchdown. Come on, AJ. You can play football.
You can do it.
Da 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 da! Baseball is happening, but we don't care. That's the end of the Color Commentary podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want, you can watch baseball, but we won't be. We'll be tuning into every little bit of news in the NFL. Go Bears! I hope they win this week, but guess what? They don't have to because it's their bye week. So make sure you look at which players are being added and dropped, and always, always, always be getting better at what you do. Please remember to like, subscribe, and follow the Color Commentary podcast, and we're going to keep this going until the end of the season. Thanks so much for listening. We're out.